Welcome back, first graders. Today, we're going to talk about drafting. Last time, we talked about brainstorming with our heart, and then we used our heart to help ourselves plan a piece of writing. Now, we're going to use that plan to help us write our draft, where we write our sentences. Remember, I chose fishing as my topic, so I'm going to start with a sentence introducing my fishing trip. My sentence is going to say, this summer I went fishing. I'm going to plan it with my finger first so I know where the words will go. This summer I went fishing. So now I'm going to get my pencil and write my sentence. I'm going to start with a capital T. And I remember the word this because that's a sight word. This. And now I'm going to stretch out the word summer. Summer. Oh, I hear the letter S. Now I know there's two M's in this word, and when I hear this time it's ER. Good writers reread so they remember what comes next. This summer, I'm going to put my finger space. This summer, I went. Went. This summer, I went fishing. Oh, wow. I was able to fit it all on that top line. Fishing. Oh, and I know ing is ing. And I don't want to forget my period at the end. Now remember, boys and girls, as you are writing, stretch out those sounds for those words you don't know. This summer, I went fishing. Now I'm going to look back at my plan. The detail I'm going to use next is to write about setting up on the dock. So my sentence is going to say, I set up on the dock. I'm going to plan it on my page. I set up on the dock. I think I can fit that in one sentence on one line. I set up on, oh, I know the dock. Okay, now I'm going to look back at my plan. The next part of my plan talks about the fishing line. I need to think about my writing and what sentence I want to write about the fishing line. Maybe I could say, next I put the hook on my fishing line. I like that. Next I put the hook on my fishing line. Next, oh, I think I can fit I. Next, I put. Next, I put the hook. And I know hook is like book, so it has two O's. Next, I put the hook on my, oh, I don't know, will I fit fishing? Well, here's fishing. Oh, I think I can fit it. And I'm just going to look at where I wrote fishing before and copy the word. Next, I put the hook on my fishing line. I can't fit line here, so I'm going to write it down here. Line. And I don't want to forget my period. I'm going to reread just to make sure it still makes sense. This summer, I went fishing. I set up on the dock. Next, I put the hook on my fishing line. Let me look at my plan so I can see what my next sentence will be about. Oh, I talked about casting. So now I'm going to write a sentence about casting the line. Maybe I can say, I cast my line in the water. Wow, I'm using the back of my page. I cast my line. Oh, I wrote line here, so I'm just going to copy that word again. I cast my line into the, and now I need to flip it over. And remember, just like when you're reading, when you're writing, we need to start at the top left and keep going. So now I'm writing water. And then my period. Okay, I'm going to reread and make sure it still makes sense. This summer, I went fishing. I set up on the dock. Next, I put the hook on my fishing line. I cast my line into the water. Okay, I'm going to look back at my plan and see if I can remember what my fourth detail was. My fourth detail is when I caught the fish. So I'm going to write a sentence about that. I think I'm going to say, after a little while, I caught a fish. After a little, after a little while, after a little while, I caught a fish. And that's an exciting sentence, so I'm going to give that one an exclamation mark. Okay, time to reread and make sure it still makes sense. This summer, I went fishing. I set up on the dock. Next, I put the hook on my fishing line. I cast my line into the water. After a little while, I caught a fish. So there are my 4 details, and I think I'm going to end my sentence saying how I felt about my fishing trip. Maybe I'll say, I had so much fun. I had I hear that letter in that word. I had so much. I don't know if I have enough room there, so I'm going to write it down here. I had so much fun. Okay, I didn't forget my period. Now let's read my story. This summer I went fishing. I set up on the dock. Next, I put the hook on my fishing line. I cast my line into the water. After a little while, I caught a fish. I had so much fun. Now that I have all of my details written into sentences from my planning page, now I can do a sketch for my picture. So a sketch is with a pencil, and when we publish our writing, then we go in with crayons or colored pencils and add lots of details to our draft. So here I go, writing a sketch with a pencil to match my sentences. So here's my sketched picture to go with my sentences, and they match my story. Next is going to be revising and editing, and then finally publishing. I can't wait to read your stories, first graders. See you next time.